Okay, we now have the A-MAZE-N-PELLET smoker. I ran it through the stove at 275 degrees for about 30 minutes to burn off all the oil from the factory. And I also washed it and everything else, so we're pretty much ready to go. I just have to figure out what I'm going to do. I think we've pretty much settled on, I've got 2 pounds of extra sharp white cheddar New York. That usually takes smoke pretty well. And I think we're going to experiment a little bit with the cherry and the apple and some timelines. Normally I smoke these cheeses for 2 hours. So I think we're going to cut the cheese up into thirds and try a 1, a 2, and 3 hour and see what the difference is between all of them. Anyway, you will be there as part of this beta test of this device. Alright, we decided on cherry because the wife likes cherry on this cheese, so I let her pick. And due to my battery failing on this silly video camera, you don't get to see me actually fill the tray here, but they say this should burn 11 hours, so I'm going to say 3.5 hours per row. And just for the sake of it, I went 1.5 rows so that it wasn't falling apart on the end or anything. I also went and piled it up a little higher, right up to the top at the beginning, just for getting it lit. I think that might help, I don't know. We'll see. And now we just gotta put her in the smoker and then get the cheese in and get her lit and see what happens. Okay, here's the bottom of my Weber Smoky Mountain. It's been slightly customized. I've got a double grill rack on the bottom of it so that coals don't fall through as quickly. And I believe we're just going to set this thing pretty much in the middle once it's lit and let it go. I'll have the body on, and I'm going to have the water pot in there with tap water, although keep in mind I've got an advantage over you guys when it comes to cold tap water. I'm in Alaska. My water comes out of the ground at about 34 degrees, so it's just about at freezing. That should take care of any heat generated by these pellets. So once we get the cheese prepared and everything, we'll get this thing lit and see how it works. Alright, we've got it in place, and by sheer coincidence, vent hole lines up with my propane burner. So we're going to see, assuming there's some propane left. Okay, I think we've done that. That wasn't too awful hard. If anything, I might have overheated the end of the thing, getting it red hot. But I don't think that's going to hurt it. So we'll let it burn here, and then we'll blow it out and see what happens. I put the body on to keep the wind from blowing on it, and as you can see, the flame is sitting there. I said I should let it go for 5 minutes or so to get going good, which I'm going to do. It also said I should have had the propane torch on low, which I didn't. So luckily I don't appear to have done any damage by not properly following Todd's directions. Okay, so anyway, we'll be back in 4 or 5 minutes and see what's going on. It's already starting to smoke and smell good. I have come out from scrubbing the grill to find this. It appears my flame has gone out, and this bad boy has decided that it's ready to go when it started. And it's smoking good, I think. Wow, pretty neat. So I'm going to put my water in there, get the cheese going, and away we'll go. So far, so good. Okay, if we look in here, you can see that it's smoking pretty good. The flame's out, it's smoldering the way it's supposed to. I've got my water pot in. I'm wondering if my water pot's going to sweat and drip on it and put it out. So, I don't know, I may have to move it over a little bit so it does not do that. I think that's what I'm going to do, is I will shift it to the side. And that way, if it does drip, it'll drip into the empty tray and not into the full ones. So, let's see. Now we're just about ready to put the cheese on. So I put this wretched 10-cent door back on. Okay, we got good smoke coming out of the top of this. This thing's smoking great. I just put the cheese in, which I'll let you see. We have 3 pieces of extra sharp white New York cheddar. See the smoke coming out of that thing? Wow. I'm very impressed. And you can smell the cherry. Cherry, cherry, cherry. So, let's take a look inside. Appears to be working just fine. So, we'll see if it keeps on burning or if she goes out or what happens. So far, so good. Alright, we're in the middle of the second hour of the test of the A-MAZE-N pellet cooker. I think you can pretty much see the smoke just bellowing out of there. I haven't opened this thing since the wife took the first chunk of cheese off. We're doing a test, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours. Let's take a look inside. I normally don't bust in, but hey, we're doing this for science. So, what can we see? I can't see. I can't see jack. All I see is smoke. I'm trying to look though. I see this thing falling off again. I should have taken it off. It's just going, and it ain't burned up very much at all, if you ask me. I mean, this thing's been going for an hour, and it's only burned in about 1 inch. And granted, I did restack the stuff a little bit when I was putzing with it, but I didn't move the ash burn off. So that's very excellent. This thing gets outstanding gas mileage, so to speak. And so, boy, we're doing good here. We got smoke just a-wafing out of this bad boy. And I think we're doing good. Now, my cooker says that it's at about 100 degrees, but it has the full bore of the sun shining on it. And the rest of the body of this thing's fairly cool. I do not believe it's 100 degrees inside there. And let's take a quick look. Okay, other than some crap falling on the cheese, it looks good. Dirty lead. Okay, let's put her back down. Cheese wasn't sweating or anything, looked fine. This thing has more than met my expectations for what I wanted to do. I stuck an internal thermometer through my hole where I run my cables for my heat controllers for smoking meats. I don't know if you can see it, but it reads that it's about 80 degrees in the cooker. I did this because the temperature gauge on the top is sort of unreliable when the sun's shining on this black beast. But we're really getting good smoke coming off of this. Those pellets are burning very well, and they are not burning up very fast. So we're on hour 2 still.
one block's out that's been smoked for an hour. This one will be 2 hours, and then the third one will be 3 hours. That'll be time to go for a ride on the Harley. Alright, we're on hour 3. I think you can see the smoke just chugging away. There's one piece of cheese left in this bad boy. Let's see what we can see. I'm going to wisely take this off this time. And excellent. Looks like, oh, a third of one row has burned up. Can you see that, camera? Outstanding. What great miles per pellet. I am very, very happy with Todd's device. I think it's outstanding. It's so simplistic. I haven't had to, once this thing was lit, I didn't have to screw with it once. When I was messing with this thing, I was having to use a hot plate. I was using chunks of this is cherry wood here, and I'd set it on the hot plate, and then after a while it would do this. I'd have to tip it over and blah blah blah, and that was a pain in the butt. And now I light this thing, stick it in there, and I've spent the last few hours doing things like washing the Harley, getting it all nice and clean so me and the wife can go for a ride. And that's because I didn't have to screw around with my now hands-free cheese smoker. So I think this thing's pretty much a success. But wait, there's more. Tonight, after we get back, we're going to smoke the other half of the cheese with some of the apple pellets. And I'm hoping that this time I'll remember to throw some pork link sausage on there, because I've always wanted to smoke my own pork link sausage and see how that works. See what it takes to get through that casing and get in there. So we'll be back. The 3-hour point has just been hit. Dun 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 dun. Oh. So you'll have to bear with me, folks. I'm doing this the hard way. It's just a hair dry, and I attribute that to the fact that the sun has been shining on my black kettle all day and cranked the heat to just about 90, which is a bit more than we want. Look at the smoke coming out this bad boy. Let me go give this to the wife, and then we'll check to shutting down what's left. Okay, so since I've only got 2 hands, you get to watch is we check this before we do anything. Pretty sweet. Look at that. It only burned up about half of one in a 3-hour time. And it's been smoking great. This appears to be the most technical part of the entire situation. I have a custom special tool to deal with this situation. Cool. That pretty much solves the problem. As soon as that stuff burns up the rest of the way there, it'll be good to go. I could sit here and try to save a few individual pellets, which would be completely retarded, but I know people that would do that. I'm not quite that crazy, so I'm more than content with having all of this still sitting here, which I knew I wasn't going to use it all, but I figured I'd burn that much, and figured I'd burn that much. That's freaking great. Todd, you did an excellent job with your concept and design here. I'm loving it. So we'll end this here. This is the end of the cherry cheese test, and we will carry on with the apple wood pellet cheese test, in which we're also going to add some pork link sausage and anything else I can scrounge up between now and after the ride on the bike.